Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Angela White, and I am the retirement readiness coach, your favorite retirement readiness coach. And so today we're going to be talking a little bit about some annual planning of your budget. Okay. So over the last few weeks, that for those of you who have joined me, we've set some goals. We've looked at how to set some goals over this next year, and we've also looked at who is it that we want to become in order to achieve those goals. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about planning and putting some habits into place for your annual budget or your annual goal for your finances. Okay. So, first, before we create that budget, we want to kind of do and take a look back. I want you to ask yourself some questions. What did I do successfully last year in regards to my budget? What did I do successfully in regards to my spending habits? Look at some of those things that you did do successfully. Let's look at that. But in addition to that, let's look at maybe some things that we didn't do so successfully. Did you even have a budget for last year? Did you create one? Did you spend, do you feel like you spent your money in the correct places? Did you spend responsibly? Do you feel like you did that? Did you have a financial goal last year? Did you hit that goal, or did you find yourself falling short? Okay. So those are some of the things we want to do before we sit down and create this goal for next year, is just to kind of take a look back over the last year. Okay. So ask yourself those questions and kind of do a recap as to where you were. Okay. And then after you ask yourself some of those questions about last year, then I want you to ask yourself, how do I feel about my current financial state? Okay. And I want you to take a long, hard look at that. So when you look at this video, and I want you to go back and look at it again, I want you to take some time. I want you to take a few hours, maybe a half a day, but to go step by step with these things that I'm going to give you tonight, and actually sit down and evaluate where you were last year and then what your plans are for this coming year. Okay. Now, over these last few days here in Texas, we've had some pretty cold days. So I thought it would be nice for us to sit here by the fireplace so we can kind of warm up a little bit. So sit back and relax with me and enjoy the fireplace, and let's get to making some good plans and goals and habits for the year. Okay. So you've looked back on what you did last year, and maybe you do or maybe you don't have um, favorable regards to did your finances last year. Maybe you didn't set a goal, you know. Maybe you didn't have an annual budget that you stuck to. But this year we're going to do some things differently, because again, my goal is to help women to have a firm financial foundation so that they can prepare themselves to retire ready and to retire right. And so we're going to set ourselves up for that today. Okay. So we looked back over the last year. And so now, once we've done that, now let's look at our current state. So I want you to grab a notebook, and I want you to write out in that notebook a few things. Okay. I want you to write out on the top what is the goal that you have for yourself for this coming year? Do you have a savings goal? Do you have a income goal? I want you to put that at the top of that sheet because again, that's giving us the direction that we're going in. Okay. And then the next thing I want you to do on that sheet is I want us to look at what is our current state, where we are right now with our finances. What is your net income? Do you even know what that is? What are your current state of your bank account? Is, is your bank account in the positive? Is it in the negative? Write out what each of your bank account, what those limits, or how much is in each one of those accounts. And then I want you to take a look at all of the credit and the bills that you have. I want you to write down again, what is the balance on each one of those accounts? Any credit cards you have, any loans that you have. Let's take a look and let's see where you are with each of those accounts. You can't get somewhere, I want you, think about, if you are in your car and you want to get from where you are to that destination and you're going to use your GPS. But as we all know, in order for GPS to get us to where we're going, they always ask us, what can I use your current location? Or where are you now? Where are you starting at? And so that's one of the things that we want to do right now is to establish exactly where we are right now. And so it is very important that you take this time to get the balances of your any checking accounts you have, any savings accounts that you have. What do you have as far as your retirement accounts? Those things, your investment accounts, what are those looking like for you? And then on the other side, we want to look at, okay, what do we have in the area of credit? What are our credit balances on our credit cards? What are our balances on our loans? And once we have those, then we know what our current state is. And then we can formulate a plan as to how we're going to get to where we want to go to. Okay. And so now that we've gotten that out the way, now we want to establish a budget for the year. Okay. So when you're thinking about your budget for the year, of course, we have to take into an account what is your income? How much money are you making right now? Okay. So you want to take that and put that on your paper. And we're talking about what is it, how much is it that you're bringing home each pay period? So let's make sure we write that down. Now, with that paycheck that we get it monthly, some get paid bi-weekly, some get paid every week. But when you're looking at that budget and that amount of money that you have, then now we put that income on the sheet. And then under that, we're going to put down all of the bills that we have to pay for that entire month. Every last one of them. Your rent, your water bill, your light bill, gas bill, all of your bills. You want to write them all out on a nice little notebook. Okay? And once you write them all down, then we're going to look at how much do you have to pay to each of those every month. Okay? And once we look at that, then we're going to take those and we're going to put them on a calendar to see where they fall at on that calendar in relation to our paychecks. Okay. This helps us so that over the course of the year, we kind of can get an idea of where our most of our money is going? Is it going out at the beginning of the month? Is it going out at the end of the month? And how we can make plans for it. Do we need to, shift some things over to the first of the month? Because right now everything is coming out of that second paycheck, and I don't have enough on that paycheck to be able to take care of the remainder of the month. So in looking at your annual budget, we have to look at all of the expenses that we have and all of the income that we have. And we try to put them in the category as far as, do they fall on the first paycheck or the second paycheck? But every month we're going to revisit this budget. So don't worry if that's what it is right now, as far as where your paychecks fall, because especially if you're getting paid every 2 weeks, the pay period don't fall on the same day every month. So that may shift which one of the pay periods that bill falls on. But what we're doing right now is we're just getting an overview of what our budget is looking like for the year. So once we have those list of bills and we look at, okay, what is that total of all of those bills that we have? Okay. Now, hopefully, when we total up all of those bills, what we make in income is going to cover all of those bills, and we still have some left over. Okay. And so once we know that, then we can make plans to either, create a savings plan. Do we have a savings goal for the year? Okay. Do we have a plan to get ourselves out of debt so that extra income can go towards building a debt reduction plan? Okay. But again, us sitting back, looking at our budget for the year, what our expenses are, what our income is, that's going to allow us to be able to take that and to be able to see where it is that we need to go and what direction that we need to go. So based off of this, now we can determine if we have a budget issue or do we have an income issue. And what do I mean by that? Well, sometimes, we go and we spend money and we swipe our card and we swipe and we don't even realize that we're swiping, and we look up and it's like, man, my money is short. I need to go out there and make some more money because I'm I don't have enough money. I can't, my bills are short. I'm coming up short on my bills. But I have found in working with clients that sometimes it's actually not an income problem. It's a spending problem. And so this is where we get to look at, when we total up all the bills that we have, and you look at it, it's like, man, wait a minute. I'm supposed to have another $2,000 or $3,000 left over at the month. Where is it going? And so again, a lot of times we're not paying attention to where our money is going, what we're doing with it, and we actually have plenty of money in our income. We're just not managing it right. But then you have those that may be on the other side that actually do have an income problem. And so if you have an income problem, then there are some things that can be done to mitigate that as well. And so we can look at, maybe we need to get us a little side hustle. Maybe we need to get a little part-time job. Or maybe we need to actually look at some of the expenses that we have that we maybe could cut down on in order for us to be able to reach the goal that we have for ourselves. Okay. So this, again, taking the time out to do this review and do this annual planning is going to do a whole lot to help you to get yourself to the place that you want to be. These tiny steps, this half a day that you take to plan this out, is going to set you up for success by the end of this year. So let's go back and talk about what we've said so far. So the first thing we did is we went back and we did a review of last year, and we looked at our money habits. What are some of the things we did last year that we were proud of and maybe that we weren't so proud of? Did we have a budget last year or did we not have a budget last year? And how do we feel about our financial state? Are we happy with it? Do we feel like we're on a right trajectory to get to where we want to go? Do we feel like right now we're in a place that we're going to be ready for that retirement? That we're going to be ready at the end of this year for the things we want to do for the holiday season? Are you prepared and ready for that? And then the next thing we did is in our notebook, is we wrote out what our current state is. And our current state is, where are we at right now in our finances? Okay. What is our current income? What are we making? What are we actually bringing home every month? And when we looked at that, then we also looked at, okay, what do we actually have in our accounts? What do we have in our checking account? What do we have in our savings account right now? Do we have some investments that we have money in? Do we have, some emergency funds out there? Do we have money in those? And then the next thing we have on our sheet is we also have what our credit is looking like right now. What are our credit balances? What are those looking like? So what are the balances on your credit cards? And what are the balances on any loans that you have out there? So once we've evaluated the last year and how we felt about our financial state, and then we've looked at what our current net worth is, and that is basically what our current bills are, okay? And how much money do we have? And if we take how much money we have and what we owe and we minus them, then that's going to tell us, do we have a positive or a negative net worth? Are you keeping track of that? Okay. We all, regardless if we run a business or you're just running your household, we should always know what our net worth is. You should run your household like you would run your business, like you would run your corporation. You are the corporation. And that's how you should be running your finances. You should know at all times where your money is. Okay. So now we're setting that up. We're going to get you ready and right so that you'll know. So now that we've gotten that captured, how much money we got, how much money that we owe, then the next thing we did is we wrote out all of our expenses that we have for the month, from the mortgage or the rent to the electric bill, your gas bill, any bills that you had. We wrote all of those out, and what the payment is that's due on those bills, when they're due for the month, and we took that list that we had, and we placed them on the calendar. We're going to place those on the calendar, okay? And we're placing those on the calendar because we're going to look at where they are in relation to when we get paid. So like I said, some people get paid every week, some get paid every 2 weeks, and some get paid once a month. And so we're looking at it in relation to that, keeping in mind that we will revisit this on a monthly basis. So as we make those shifts, because our pay dates change, we'll make those. But right now we're looking at, for the year, how we're planning. Okay. So now we've gotten everything listed out. We've gotten them on our calendar. So now we're going to total up all of the expenses that we have for the month. And we're going to take that total and we're going to subtract it from the amount of income that we have coming in for the month. And from there, what I've asked that you do is to look at, do I have a surplus of income? And that means, do I have more income than I do expenses? Maybe I got another $500-600 left over, 1,000 or two left over. Great. I'm glad to hear it. But what if you're just breaking even? Or what if you're not even meeting the mark at all? This is the time to learn the truth about yourself. You have to look at yourself and evaluate your current situation. Going day by day and not really knowing what your situation is and knowing your status is not going to help it. Taking this time to really evaluate and review where you are is what's going to help you to get to the goals that I'm sure that each and every one of you have for yourself. Okay. So now once we looked at that, now we're making a determination whether we have a income problem or do we have a spending problem. And like I said before, I've worked with many clients and I have some that's on both spectrums. People feel they think that they have an income problem and they need to go out there and make more money. But when they go out there and they really look at and evaluate all the bills that they have, they totaled it up and they look at the income they made and they're like, shoot, this says I'm supposed to have another $2,000 or $3,000 left over in a month. Where is that? Where did it go? And so this is where, you have a spending problem. And then for those that may actually have that income problem, then we can later look at some ways that can help you to alleviate that problem as well. And that is by maybe, again, looking at some income producing activities that you can do, maybe a side hustle, or even maybe looking at some of the expenses that you have incurred. So I really do want you to take the time over this next week until we meet again to go and seriously do this evaluation and see where you are on this spectrum so that we can move forward on next week. Because on next week, we're going to take this budget and we're going to take it a little bit further and we're going to look at how we're going to put these into some categories. And we're going to look at maybe some ways that for those, especially those that have that spending problem, how can we help that spending problem? And again, for those that are on the income side, maybe we'll come up with a couple of things that I can share with you that can help you to alleviate and help you with that income problem that you have. So again, for those of you who joined me on tonight, I appreciate you joining me. And again, thank you for joining me, your favorite retirement readiness coach. And I look forward to seeing you on next week. Bye-bye.